All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our 9 a.m. conference call with Jordan Stout. As always, please raise your hand and I will call on you. We'll go with Joe Giuliano.
Morning, Jordan. How are you? Oops.
Morning. Good. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. I just wanted to get an idea of how you feel your overall performance has gone in the first 5 games, and has it reached your expectations?
There are some high spots and there's some low spots. Overall, I would like to be doing great in all 3 aspects, where I think I'm just doing that in 2 right now. But I feel like that's something I've been working on, and I'm going to get better as the season goes on.
Greg Pickle.
Jordan, which one of the 3 is the area you feel that way about, and why?
Right now, I feel field goal. We've been, it just hasn't came together as a unit so far this season, and that's something we fixed last week. And since last week, I felt so much better about it. And that's it.
Back to Joe Giuliano.
Jordan, how has it been like to, how do you share your own workload when you're doing 3 things? Do you like do things on different days, or you do all 3 in one day? I'm just curious about your workouts and your practice habits.
Yeah, I have like a little spreadsheet that tells me what I need to do each day. But I'll do all 3 each day. Besides Wednesdays, I don't kick off. Thursdays, I don't kick off. I only kick off on Tuesdays.
Daniel Gallen. Daniel Gallen. We can't hear him, so we'll go back to Greg Pickle.
Jordan, what do you feel like it was about the field goal game that you were able to fix last week? Obviously, it led to the 50-yarder that was probably good from deeper than that.
I think a big part of it was I kind of slowed my approach down. I think I've been trying to hit the ball 100 miles per hour, and you don't need to do that. I have the leg to hit from 50 if I'm hitting 30%, which is what I should have been doing from the beginning. I think another thing is our operation has been much, much better. The snap's been perfect. The hold's been perfect. And then that leads me to being able to hit a perfect kick. And it wasn't bad the first few games. There was just a little uncertainty each game. But we have that completely fixed, and it's awesome.
And Justin.
Forgive me if you've already answered this, Jordan, but with the 3 facets of your game with kicking, punting, kickoffs, and field goals, do any one of them come more naturally to you? And if so, why?
If one came naturally, I'd have to say that would be field goal and kickoff. I think punting in the past, at least, was much more difficult. It took me a lot longer to get good at, but I've taken that as a challenge, and I love punting now, and I feel like it might be the best facet of my game at the moment.
Joe Giuliano.
Jordan, speaking of punting, obviously I think you would agree you didn't reach your potential, I guess, last year, but this year it's been out of sight. You're 7th in the country in punting. What did you do in the off season to fix that, and what's the key to the consistency of it this season?
Honestly, I just got so technical. I spent way, way, way more time than I ever have on punting, and I feel like that paid off. I mean, it's the really small things. Like every Monday and Tuesday, I'll go into our facility and I'll do like 40 minutes of just drops. Like I'll just drop the ball and not kick it. And when you do that over and over again, once you get in the game and you have some nerves going, you look back on that 40 minutes you did it in the facility, and it's easy. I just feel like I've spent a lot more time on punting, compared to the past, and that's what's helped me the most.
Greg Pickle.
Jordan, your coverage guys seem to be pretty much waiting for the opposing punt returner every time you punt, or at least a good majority of them. Was hang time a part of the things you wanted to work on as well, or is that just a product of you have really good gunners who get down there fast?
Yeah, hang time's something I've also worked on, and it's gotten better, but also our gunners are the best in the nation, and that helps out a lot too.
Andrew Destin.
Jordan, you've obviously had an excellent year there, being in the top 10 with average yards per kick. But looking at the Iowa side, another guy in Torrey Taylor, who's in the top 20, he's at 47.3 yards per punt. How important is it in a game like this? You know, you two guys kind of going up against each other with punting, special teams in a game like this against Iowa. How important is that?
I think field position could win this game. Torrey's a great punter as well. I have nothing negative at all to say about him. He's had a great season. He's a good guy. We talk about once a week. And yeah.
David Eckert.
Hey, Jordan. I was listening to some of what the Indiana guys had to say after the game last week, and they were talking about how difficult your punts are to catch. Just whether from a hang time aspect, maybe a spin aspect. Is there an art to that, and how do you learn how to, I guess, punt a ball that's difficult for the opposition to catch?
I think the ones he was talking about, I didn't hit extremely well. So they would come off my foot and they would go right, but then they would curve back in left because I was hit the ones he meant. But he also could have meant one of the first two, they were really high, and a high ball when it's late at night, it's like it almost disappears up in the lights before it comes down. So who knows what he's talking about.
Joe Giuliano.
Jordan, I just want to go back. You said you talked to Torrey Taylor once a week. Is there like a fraternity of punters, kickers, et cetera? Do you guys like talk much, and do you talk about like nobody respects us? I mean, the kicker is used to be always the guy that was over there someplace, but now obviously you've had a key role with this team. But what's that like with you and other punters and kickers?
We reach out to each other each week and be like, hey man, you had a good week, keep it up. I mean, yeah, I mean he's a really good punter, and there's a lot of the other guys like guy at Ohio State, guy at Michigan State, even SEC teams, like a lot of punters talk, you believe it or not, and kickers as well. Cameron Dicker's one of my good friends from Texas. We check in on each other like once a week. So yeah, it is like a little bit of fraternity. We're pretty close. We train together in the off season, and I feel like that's what creates that bond.
Any other questions for Jordan? Joe Giuliano.
Jordan, when did you first discover that you could blast a kickoff over the end line? And what's that feeling like? I mean, your percentage, I know you hit one out of bounds once, but your percentage is like off the charts as far as creating touchbacks. When did you first realize that you could kick like that?
I remember the day. I don't remember when it was. I was training in Charlottesville, Virginia with Jimmy Howell. He used to be a punter for Virginia. And there was this kid named Reed that I trained with. And I was always okay at kickoff. This was like junior year of high school, probably. I was always okay at kickoff, but I wasn't doing it 100% right. And then this Reed kid came up. He's like, hey man, like you're not getting through the ball. You need to follow through more. I'm like, okay. And then after that, I hit the ball like 10 yards further, like ever since that moment. And I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. So I have Reed to thank for that.
Andrew Destin.
Sorry about that. He kind of got to my last question there, but I guess I'll fill in. Is there this year, Jordan, has there been one moment in particular, I guess, with your kicking where you kind of feel this is the moment that's kind of defined the game? Or for you, I guess, what would be the best moment you've had, whether it's kicking, field goals, kickoffs, punts, that's kind of been your favorite moment, I guess, this year?
I think I have to say against Wisconsin when we were backed up and I hit the really far punt. I think it was 73 or something, and they ended up on their 10-yard line. I thought that was a big part of that game because at that moment they were close to scoring, and if they would have scored, who knows what would have happened. I feel like that's my most proud moment or best play of the year, I guess.
Any other questions for Jordan? All right, we'll wrap it up there. Thank you, Jordan.